So at this point, I'm still following this whole Games Workshop thing as the rollout for Warhammer Plus continues. Honestly, at this point, just out of curiosity and just to see how far Games Workshop is going to take these new updated terms of services. Right now, they seem to be going after animators and content creators focusing on artwork and using that. There have been a couple of lore channels that were closed down voluntarily. And then, of course, the big question for those of us interested in the Warhammer 40K community narrative and ecosystem, the big question, you have your channel. And this is expanding out from YouTube because, of course, YouTube primarily being the medium of animation and video. As this spreads out, what about blogs that utilize artwork? What about Patreon channels that generate Warhammer 40K artwork? Are you licensing the trademarked Space Marine? So this rippling effect, I think, is going to get much bigger over the next couple of months, and I'm curious to see where it goes. But now I've been hearing some rumblings and watching a couple of videos talking about Warhammer 40K mods for Total Warfare and other video games. And this is an interesting spinoff. I didn't really originally see or even think about this possibility. But of course, other games out there, the modding community is huge. Just as an example, and I might have to check on this out of curiosity. I'm pretty sure no. But I'm a big fan and enthusiast of Neverwinter Nights. And I love playing the game. I love a lot of the mods that are out there, a lot of the modules. And when this game was developed, of course, it's based on the D&D 3.x engine. It's set in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. It has an original campaign and a secondary expansion campaign. But the game, when was this game released? Is it 20 years old already? Like, I think around 2000. I just remember playing it originally on my e-machine. But from that perspective, the game was built so people could play online. People could play on servers. You could literally write your own modules. The ultimate mod. So mods not as an after effect, but in the beginning. Is there a Space Marine mod for Neverwinter Nights buried somewhere on some obscure server that will soon be hunted down and terminated by the Inquisition of Games Workshop? But putting that aside, I understand in the computer/video game ecosystem, mods are a big deal. Mods are really a big deal. So now for Games Workshop to look, and it's not that much of an unexpected or unrealistic jump to say, hey, this is where we're going. This is what's going to happen. We're coming after the animators because they are a direct threat to Warhammer Plus, but we also need to flex our muscles a little bit and see what happens from this perspective. So I'm interested to see how that spills over. And of course, the big question, now that the terminations have gone out on YouTube, how is this going to affect and shake out on Patreon? And there are numerous creators. I'm a backer of a few of them because I enjoy their content. And I want to throw a little bit of love towards the fact that they are spending their life force, their literal time. There's only so many hours in the day to create awesome fan content that I get to enjoy and increase the value of my grimdark experience. Trying not to use GW copyrighted words. So from that perspective, that's an important revenue stream for them. How is that going to play out? Because that has to be next. And I wonder, of course, YouTube bows to everybody but the content creators. How is that going to affect Patreon? Because Patreon gets a cut out of every patron, hence Patreon. It's a completely different model and a completely different revenue stream. From that perspective, it will be very, very interesting.